Okay, let's build this cowl support. I wish I had a laser, but I don't. So we're going to do this with common hand tools like I've been doing. So I've got a 52-inch, I think, 10 Smith stomp shear. It's an excellent shear. I keep the blade really, really sharp. I do not want to damage that blade, so I always want to make sure that I check that blade area to make sure that I do not have any scribes or any tool steel type material that could get in there, because you will put a nick in that blade and you'll be really sad because you'll have a bump every time you try to cut. All right, so I got a little bit challenged. I really want to challenge. A guy on YouTube said you can't use the stomp shear and get within a 1/16 or so. Well, I can get pretty close here. So I went ahead and set my calipers. You don't use Mitutoyo or Starrett's with this. I mean, you use some cheaper ones. It works just fine. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little bit extra large just so you can see this on camera. I think it'll show up on camera. So I take a Sharpie. You say, well, you could just use a Sharpie mark. Well, I'll tell you what, this is not a fine, this is a fine point actually. There's a finer point, but they don't last, they don't hold up. So even these fine points, you could have an 1/8 inch variance on one side of the line or the other. On both sides, now you're up to 3/16 1/4 inch. So you got to think about this, guys. You're going to be looking down through a 6-inch dark channel up there. You want to be able to see this line. Plus you want it to cut accurately. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the caliper, I'm just going to barely hang it on this end. All we're doing was scribing a line. That's why I said don't use real nice calipers for this. And let's see if that showed up on camera. Yep, sure did. You can see that little scribed line right there. And then now we will be able to spin this thing around and feed this bad boy in there. I get asked this several times a year, I bet, of why do I have pool noodles? Guys come over to the house to shear something and they're like, why do you have a pool noodle on there? Because they will scratch, these arms will scratch real thin aluminum and put an indentation if you lean over it. So let's go ahead and take this thing out. I don't wear gloves around the sheet metal stuff. I keep my stuff deburred. I hate wearing gloves. You can wear gloves if you feel that it's safe. You can also, you know, I think CVS, Amazon, you can go on and order some Triactin like a man, and not wear gloves. Do whatever you want to do. Do whatever's safe. Do whatever makes you feel good. I simply don't care if you use gloves or not, but don't shame me for not. Oh, wow, that is perfectly on the line there. Not a chance I'll be on the line over here. This is where having two people helps. You don't have to walk back and forth, but I work in the shop alone a lot, and there's just no way around it. I just have to work my own magic. Oh, I'm sure that scooted that other side. All right, I'm dead on the money here. Man, not a chance that'll be the same over there either. Let's go take a look. Oh boy, that's close. We might be able to shear it today. Oh yeah, I like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is a stomp shear because what you can't see, there's a big old pedal, 4 feet wide, runs across the whole thing. You can't just step on it. You do kind of have to jump on it. I get it in place so it doesn't move. And then I do a good jump. I do another little jump, and then I stop. I don't get too rad with it because I don't want my part to fall and put a big ding on the corner back there. Now, my fingers are not in the blades. I have a hold of the part that's fallen. Again, be smart about this stuff if you're going to break the rules of tools. And I just kind of do a couple of micro jumps, and voila, we didn't drop our part on the ground and ding the corner of it. Now let's see how we did here. I'm scared to do this on camera. I'm not doing any editing. I got an airplane to build, so this is set for 3 inches. Let's go ahead and zero it out. Yep, she's zeroed. Oh boy. Did I run my mouth here? Probably did. Hopefully it's within 1/8 of an inch. And, whoops, I'm sliding off. And we'll get it up there and we'll get it level. I'll take that. That's pretty darn close there. That is under a 1/16 of an inch that way. And I'm kind of in a hurry and I'm kind of ready to get it done, and this kind of doesn't really matter. And, whoops, I'm trying to hold it on this one side. Right there, 30 thousandths. I'd say that's good enough for some stupid cowl bracket. But anyway, that's what we've done there. Now I need to cut it down width-wise. I only need 20 inches wide. Let me cut that down, and then we'll take it over to the brake. where we'll break it up 90, and then we'll take it over to the shrinker and we'll shrink it and we'll make it into an arch. So that'll give us the rear shape of our cowl. All right, let's break this metal. I mean, not really break it, but let's put it in the brake and let's put it at 90 degrees. Could just about eyeball 90 degrees. I could get my handy dandy protractor over here, but I'm not going to, because remember, it's just a little cowl bracket. It's probably even temporary. This is kind of trial and error to see if I even like this system. And I've got 2 marks on here, and there's a handle on the side over here that you can see it will clamp down, right? So it's going to come down and it'll pinch the fool out of you too. So you just got to be careful with that. It's got a cam over center. You want to pull that out, click, it locks. I've got these big giant counterbalances on here that will help me. It will help me overbend it, so I have to cuss and then bend it back. So pardon me. Whoops, the arm's hitting the camera there. Let's come on up. Come on up. You can actually see now, man, there's not too much spring back on this. Let's come on back down, and then here's what it looks like. See that guy right there? That's pretty much 90. That's actually 89.2. Whatcha? That's 90. Yeah, that's for sure 90 there. I'll take my handle, over center, and there we go. 97 degrees, not exactly what I wanted, but again, super easy to unbend it. It's 22 gauge. So let's go shrink it. And by shrinking it, it's gonna be pretty cool because it's gonna put an arch in it. Okay, so we got our little 90-degree piece. This is the one that we put in the shear, and we sheared it, and what it's going to do is it's going to go up there, and the back of the cowl is going to sit on the shelf. It's not going to be near this big. We'll trim some weight out of there. We want to keep these airplanes light, but this will give us the concept, and if we like it, then we'll just trim it down and we'll go with it. If we don't, then we'll go back to the drawing board. So the problem is that we've got this plate it's actually gonna go like this, and the propeller would be that way, the aircraft would be this way. And the problem is you can't just easily bend this, right? So I mean, I could put it over my knee and maybe bend it, but it's gonna kink it, right? We don't wanna do that. So they make these little things called shrinkers and stretchers. They've got these little teeth, and they just go, you put the metal in this little area right here, and these little teeth bite down, and they do make some little marks. It's not a perfect system. You can, I mean, they're barely enough to hang a fingernail on right there, but they'll either grab it and then they'll pull it apart. There's 2 teeth, so there's two little teeth like this. So they'll grab it and then pull it apart, and that would be a spreader. So sorry. And then the other 2 teeth, what I have in this one, I've written shrink on there because they look identical. But they go down, they clamp, there's one on the top, one on the bottom, and they'll pull it together. So let's see how this works. A little goes a long way. So I don't want to go too overboard with it. So we'll come up, we'll open up those little teeth, and let's see if we can actually see it move. I'm just going to push down on the handle. Yep, and there it goes. And another one, another one. You just want to work it, right? You don't want to spend too much time in one area, or you'll end up with like a cathedral. We don't want that. We want this thing to be nice and smooth, more like an archway. And then you can see there, look at there. That's putting a nice bend to it. And again, these are just barely enough to hang a fingernail in. But I see these airplane guys come in there and they've got these pliers, like 2 little rods on the bottom and then another rod, and it smashes down. It's really a pretty crack. I guess it works, but like I said, I think this is a better way of doing it. So here we go. And if you overdo this within reason, sorry, I'm kind of grunting into the microphone there. Whoa, kind of doing caveman stuff here. If you overdo it, we could switch this out and we could put the spreader up there, and then we can go back. You can do that within reason. At some point you start kind of waffling it up and it starts to look bad. But if you just need to undo it a little bit, well, it's not that hard. You just put the stretcher up there, and I said spreader, the stretcher. I just want to make this nice and uniform. Now I don't want to go all the way to the ends because that cowling's flat on the end. Man, that looks pretty uniform right there. And you can eyeball it to a certain point, but then if you want to do it right, you set it down, and then you get some measurements. Like 2 inches in, it's 1/4 inch. 4 inches in, it's 1/2 inch. And then you do that, and you can get your symmetry like that. But or you could eyeball it. I mean, it's not going to be bent much here. It's just the top of the cowling. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to quit right there, and I've got a little bit of work to do on the cowl, and then on the cowl brace, and then we'll see where my part wound up. So it's going to sit again. Now you can see if we're sitting in the cockpit, we've got the hood out there is going to be round. So it's going to go like that. The propeller is going to be to the left, and then where my thumb is, that's going to be the cockpit area. Let's give it a try and see how this works. All right, so let's build that upper cowl support. That's going to take some stress off of the firewall. There's another manufacturer that's doing it, and I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's smart to put all that stress of the cowl and the transition cowl and the hood and all that. I don't think it's smart to put all that stress on the firewall when you don't have to, when you can literally put about 10 ounces of steel up there and make it structural that way. I just picked up a scrap piece of 4130, and what we're going to do is already started a line so you can see it, and we're just going to fillet this in our bandsaw. And what that's going to do is now it's going to be split in half. So now you've got a saddle that's going to go over the existing fuselage bulkhead, the top rail on the firewall. It'll go there and sit. Now I'm just going to clamp it with radiator clamps to start with, but if I like the design, then I'll go forward and I'll go ahead and weld it in there. So let's go ahead and get ripping. Oh, by the way, do not do this. If you're going to use tools the wrong way, just be smart about it. Like, don't ever force your way into the blade. I'm going to let the blade do the cutting. I don't wear gloves on stuff like this and around lathes because I'd rather just cut my thumb or my finger and not get the glove sucked in there and do more damage. But anyway, don't lecture me about this. All right, here we go. Again, I'm not putting pressure. I'm just letting the blade cut. Sorry, it's loud. There's not much I can do about it. And I'm going to get on the backside for vibration control. And that way I'm pulling away from the blade, and my thumb and my finger on the left hand are just kind of guiding it. I know there's some people out there that are just absolutely cringing at this. Well, buy me a laser machine. Buy me a laser machine and I won't have to do this sketchy stuff. But anyway, here we go. All right, sorry for all the noise there, but you see now what we've done is we've taken this piece, which is the inside diameter here, is going to go clink, and it's going to ride on the firewall. So let's take it over there and let's take a look. All right, get on my approved ladder, and let's get in here and take a look and see how this is going to work. So again, we're trying to support this top cowl, and click, that goes right there, and you can see, actually I'll put it on this tube so it's a little closer and you can see how that really just fits in there and it goes perfect. Come on, focus, camera.